Hi everyone, it's Aga from crystalbeads.com and I'm here with another fun tutorial for you. Before I get started, as usual, just a quick reminder to check out the rest of our channel, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you always know when we're posting new content. In this video, we're gonna get into the holiday spirit with these cute wreath earrings that I have here. These are wire wrapped, very easy. You'll make a pair in like maybe under half an hour. So let me show you what supplies we're going to need. When it comes to beads, you're going to need some 8/0 beads to kind of cover the wire inside. So here I have this dark green shade of 8/0s. These can be Miyuki or Toho, doesn't matter. You're also going to need some green 11/0s. Here I have some silver lined emerald, and I'm also going to use some Krakovski 4mm pearls and some also 4mm Firepolish beads in red because these are like Christmassy colors. You can use anything you want, and I'm gonna give you a sequence that makes them go kind of in a spiral around the wire, so it's best if you use 11/0s and 4mm like additional beads that I have here in white, the pearls, and red, the Firepolish. You can also add a little bow tie at the end. I'm going to show you how to do this, and I'm going to be doing this with 15/0s in a red shade. So you might also need that, but that's not necessary. When it comes to wire, we're going to use two thicknesses of wire, one thick wire for the kind of outline, and I have 20 gauge here. An 18 gauge would also do good, 21 maybe, but this is like an optimal one. And I'll be also using a 28 gauge in a similar color. It doesn't really matter, maybe just use one to match your earring finding. Here I have this like regular hook because I want them to hang on right under the ear and not too low, okay? Right, when it comes to supplies, you're also going to need some pliers, some cutting pliers to cut off the wire, some round nose pliers to kind of make loops over here, and just some flat nose pliers or chain nose pliers so that you can hold on to things when you need to. In addition to that, I also have an ultra suede tube here, and that's not for the ultra suede, that's for the tube, because that's when we're gonna get the shape from. You can use anything you like so that you can get any size that you like, anything that has a round shape. With an ultra suede tube, you will get this size, roughly. Alright, let's start. Alright, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take the thicker wire and we're gonna make the shape with it. So I'll just find the end of my wire and I'm gonna unwind some of it. If you have those pliers with like rubber jaws, you can use them to straighten out your wire, or you can just use some kind of cloth to make it a little bit more straight. Now I'm going to take my ultra suede tube and I'm basically going to wrap the wire around, leaving a bit of the wire for the loop. So I'm just taking my wire and wrapping it around. There, and I basically have a round shape. You can adjust it to make it a little bit rounder. And this is more or less where they're gonna meet. I'm gonna make a loop out of this end, and now I'm gonna cut it off roughly wherever it's enough to make the other loop. So this is what I've got. I take my round nose pliers and I make one of the loops by just holding near the end, not at the very end, but near the end. And I'm twisting and rolling it towards me because I just prefer it when I do it towards me. There's one loop. Now I want the other one to be close to that first one, but maybe I'll have to cut a little bit more. But right, let's not roll it yet because we still need beads on this wire. See, I would have almost forgotten. So I take my 8/0 beads and just one by one, I'll add some on the wire. Right, now don't forget to leave some space for the loop, and also if there's some space left on the wire, like when you make the loop and there's a little bit of space here, that's okay, because we're still gonna need to wrap the ribbon around somewhere. So that's okay. This is how much I have left. Yeah, maybe I'll just add one more bead. Right, that looks just about right. So again, I'm gonna grab this and roll it towards me. Right. So they are mostly aligned, as you can see. All right, then let's wrap it. All right, so now I cut off 25 inches of the 28 gauge wire. For this, I used 25 inches, but I had plenty left at the end, but still I don't trust myself, so I cut off 25 inches anyway. You're probably gonna need less than that, but it's always good to stay on the safe side and have some more than you need rather than less. And I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna be wrapping over there eventually, but I'm starting over here by wrapping this wire over this side of the circle right next to this loop. So I make one wrap over here. Then I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna try and go inside here so that they are connected more or less and aligned. You just make sure that you don't have any bends on your wire so that it passes on smoothly, because we don't want it to break on us. So I'm just trying to gently pass it through these two loops, kind of straightening it as I go, making sure there isn't like a sharp bend in it. Right, you can help yourself with those pliers here. I'm gonna go through again. Alright, just once. Now I'm gonna wrap once around over here. Don't worry, we're gonna strengthen that bond a little bit later. For now, I'm just gonna take care of that. And I'm gonna put it underneath here. And you can try to help with those sharp ends if you have any by just trying to flatten them with those flat nose pliers. Alright, so we're all set up to wrap. So I'm gonna start with 8 11/0s. And then I'm gonna be adding 1 pearl, 4 11/0s, 1 red fire polish, And I'm actually gonna stop right there. This is where I'm gonna wrap, because if I add more, it's just gonna be more uncomfortable for me to get all that down and through that loop. So I'm gonna go this way. So what I do is I just wrap around, put that through, pull the entire wire through, and as close as I can, I coil this wire with the beads on it over the loop. And I try to kind of hold my finger close to the beads so that they don't fall off, and so that they're tightly wrapped around here without any gaps. And I'm gonna do the same sequence, so like 4 green 11-ohs, 1 pearl, 4 green 11-ohs, and a red Firepolish. And now I hold the beads kind of close over here, and I wrap it around, pulling my wire through the loop. And I'm trying to not let any gaps form over here. And another one. 4 green 11-ohs, a pearl, 4 green 11-ohs, and a red Firepolish. And wrapping them around. As close as you can to the previous coil. And if you do that, you should get that pattern where they kind of wrap around there. I mean the colors, because the beads obviously wrap around if you're wrapping them around. What I mean is that, as you can see, you have this spiral kind of pattern here that's going here. So I think that also looks nice. So we just continue wrapping until you're done, and until it's time to add the bow tie and finish the entire work. Alright, so this is where I'll end. I'm gonna add 8 11-ohs in here right now, just like in the beginning. And I'm gonna wrap them around. And with just the wire, I'm gonna make one more round over here, so that this is where I'm at. Now I have just enough of wire for the bow tie. So let me just whip up some red 15-ohs. Right here are some red 15-ohs, and I'm gonna put 11 on my wire. You can put fewer, you can put more if you want your bow tie to be bigger. And I'm just gonna make a loop with them. You can help yourself with some pliers. We're gonna make it a little bit more shapely later on. Okay, so this is my loop with my beads, and I'm gonna hold it right there. You can do it with your flat nose pliers or round nose pliers. You can hold it there. And I'm gonna try and twist it about twice. So I'm making another loop. And I'm gonna try and do the same. I'm gonna go ahead and twist it. And this is what I have. I'm gonna go through the entire wreath with my wire. And I'm gonna go through these double loops on the top and above my bow tie. Again, making sure that my wire doesn't get creased, bent. This is where I can add some beads in the middle of my bow tie, so I'll just pick up like 6 beads. And I'm going around that central element again. And my beads are going to end around here. I'll go through the middle here again. And this time I'll just go under the bow tie and wrap around the wire next to the loop twice to secure the wire. And I'll cut off as close as I can to my work so that I don't have to worry about it anymore. I'll just straighten up my bow tie a little bit, make it cuter. You can shape it now. Another thing I'll do is I'll align these loops a little bit better because they're a little bit out of line. So I just take my round nose pliers, I go into them, and I just kind of align them by banding slightly like this. Okay, so one quite obvious thing that I forgot to mention in the beginning is that if you want to make these into earrings, you're gonna need ear wire. Here I have just some basic ear wire, so let me just pop that on there. So for this one, I'm gonna go from the front and then just gently kind of maneuver it onto there. And that's it. I'm just gonna tighten it a little bit up like this. I'll adjust my bow tie and it's ready. One more thing before I finish. For one earring, I used 17 of the pearls and of the Firepolish beads. So if you make your earrings the same size, that's roughly how much you're gonna need. Depending on how tightly you coil your wire around this base, you may need like 16 to 19. So this is just so that you know how many beads you're gonna need. So double that for 2 earrings. And that will be it for this tutorial. All of the materials that I've shown you today can be found at eurekacrystalbeads.com. Have a wonderful holiday season. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one. Bye!